Hello, my dudes, and welcome back to the Miking the Press Pass podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm David.
What are you enjoying?
What am I enjoying?
Yes.
Your company.
Hey.
The smooth,
Thanks.
plangent sounds of Proper 12 in my belly.
Yeah, Proper 12.
And a Regis Red Label Exclusivo.
Ooh.
It's I feel like I just say that so much. Like it's I smoke this cigar on the podcast more than like any other cigar.
Yeah, it's like your Leva.
Yeah. I haven't seen you smoking a Leva in a minute, actually.
I don't know why. I'm not just going through the rotation.
Yeah. What you got going on? I know what you got going on because I gave it to you. But, you know,
Arturo Fuente Queen Bee. Bzz. Got some age on it.
Yeah. I don't know. How's it taste so far?
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Not bad.
I was like thinking, it was like maybe you just got like a really good box of them because you were like fucking amped on it. I was like, it's a good cigar, but you were like, this is dope as fuck. I was like, oh, maybe you just got like a really good box or something. And then I was like, that one's got like some age on it, so maybe it's also good. Yeah.
So what you been up to this week?
You know, I'm just gonna lead off with my recommendation for the week.
Okay.
Just I can't hold it in. Why do people use Dove soap? Don't use Dove soap, people. It's fucking stupid. Why do people like Dove soap?
Feel all silky smooth after you're done.
It's like just washing your body with lotion.
Yeah.
Lotion is not soap.
Well, you have the oily skin. I have the dry skin. So like when I come out, I'm like, ooh, oh, nice.
It just feels like lotion. Like I wash my hands with it, it just feels like it's fucking lotion.
That's a body soap, not a hand soap.
Well, yeah, I pack the hand soap. I may have went a little too far in that direction.
You know, sometimes I use a shampoo to wash my hands, so
it's all soap. It fucking cleans you, but like I don't feel clean. I don't feel clean when I feel like I have film on me. Even when I wash with my body with Dove, it feels like I have
use
film.
Purell instead of soap in the shower.
That would probably make me feel cleaner. Dove makes me feel like there's a film on me.
Yeah.
It's not clean. Film is not clean. I want it just clean off, like someone just peeled the lid, like I'm Kif.
You want the Irish Spring, where it's like you like touch yourself and your skin's squeaking like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want that. Like it's taking the top layer of your like epidermis off.
Yeah, I'm like Kif and fucking Futurama.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I want. It's like a fucking yeah, I'm clean, ready to go. I'm a pound lighter.
When I use Irish Spring, it feels like my face is like really taut because it's like I don't know what it does to my skin.
It's not it dries your skin out.
Yeah,
it's not made to be used on your face.
Well, you gotta fucking just rub it all over your body.
Well, you don't use a face wash? I just use a face wash.
No, I don't.
Oh yeah. Strangely enough, my face wash I think is Dove face wash.
Oh.
Strangely enough, like Dove for men. It's like, why does it have to be for men? What about Dove is lady oriented?
Part of the perfumes they use.
Huh, maybe. That doesn't smell like anything to me. It smells like lotion. It smells like fucking regular lotion.
Uh-huh.
And the shit is like, it's like you just
well, like anything that's like for men, it has like more of like, you know, a musk smell or kind of like an Old Spice kind of thing to it.
Sure, I guess. But it's like you get Dove though, you're like, ooh, fresh bar. Yeah, I'm gonna get all. Oh, where'd it go? It's gone already. Because fucking 30 seconds later, it's gone.
No, I've had that experience.
Irish Spring is, yeah, it just goes super quick. Try a fucking brick of Irish Spring, dude. That shit'll last you like as long as like a actual
that
brick.
shit's made out of wax.
It's just like, it's like using. I remember I did this one time because we ran out of soap, body soap in the shower when I was. I wasn't living with my dad, but I used to go over there and stay on the weekends. And my dad used to work heating and cooling, fixing air conditioners, HVAC shit. So his hands would get pretty fucking dirty. So the hand soap we had was lava, and we didn't have any fucking like body soap. And I was like, I'll just use this.
Nope.
I felt so exfoliated though.
I know. I felt all raw.
I did. It was kind of baller though.
Like if you put any like Purell in your body's like lava.
Yeah.
Lava is dope. I wish I could just have it everywhere. Clean your hands so good.
For the longest time, I didn't know they made liquid lava. I was like, how do you get rock to come out of a fucking pump? Because you pick up a brick of lava and it feels like a rock.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just lasts forever, man.
That's why like those old school like soap dispensers, like at schools or elementary schools, that has like that powder. Yeah. Make a paste out of it.
Oh, I don't even like remember the last time I saw the powder.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know if most places like phase that out or.
Huh. Yeah, probably it's just too expensive.
Whoa. It seemed like it'd be easier to store. It's a bag instead of like a box full of like individual bars of soap.
Well, usually if it's a dispenser, they have liquid soap. And so it just probably comes in like a giant, I don't know, drum or something.
Oh, maybe.
Just fucking pouring it.
I don't understand how Dove soap is a recommendation when you don't recommend it.
Yeah, I recommend staying away from it.
Oh, okay, that's a recommendation.
I recommend don't use it if you were inclined to use it before. You're like, maybe it'd be good. It's not. It's fucking horrible.
What else? What else have you been doing this week?
This was a pretty quiet week for me, man. I just, keeping a low profile, setting up the apartment still. So just
Doing your thing.
It suddenly got quiet. What was it?
The neighbors.
Oh, it's quieter.
Yeah,
That's nice.
How about that?
Anyway, what's up with you?
Santa Clara County is out of stay-at-home orders. That's good. So what that means for me and you? Oh wait, do you still have any ships at West Coast?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, okay. So they opened like for cigar shops. We're kind of under the same guidances as restaurants. So outdoor dining is allowed, and so we have outdoor smoking now. So they opened that back up. We're a little bit more stringent or a little bit more hard ass on the rules now, having like 6 feet apart and having very limited seating now. So
Yeah,
we're kind of loosey goosey in the beginning.
yeah. That's oh, hey, speaking of which, that could probably be my recommendation for this week too.
Not getting COVID.
No, I ate at this place called Chica over on Santana Row. Chica.
Bow Wow.
No.
No.
I don't know if it's Chica or Chica.
Wow.
I kept calling it Chica because I think that's funnier, but I think it's Chica because it's Chika. It's over on Santana Row. I think it's where that Taco-licious place used to be that I literally never saw anyone go in or out of. So I'm not surprised it's not around anymore.
Yeah.
I went there a little overpriced, but pretty solid. Chicken and waffles. Had the chicken and waffles.
Okay.
And it kind of came like a sandwich though.
Ooh, nice.
And it was, but here's what I realized as I was eating it. I was like, this is pretty good. And then I was like, oh, I see why they sandwiched it with like a little waffle on the bottom and a waffle on the top. It's because when I opened it, I was like, there's like 2 pieces of chicken like this big on one waffle, another waffle, and then waffle. It's like $16 or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't get a lot of chicken for $16.
Yeah.
It was pretty good though, I will say that. But then I had the horrible runs the next night, so or later that night. So maybe but Diana seemed fine. Like, but then again, it's not exactly like she's the kind of person that's just going to be like, "Did you get the squirts?" But yeah, that was good. It's worth trying out. I didn't have anything else on their menu, but they have apparently a bunch of other. I feel like anytime chicken is something that I'm like, this is pretty good. Like it's probably pretty good.
There's some like kitchen only options on DoorDash because it doesn't actually have a storefront. I guess they go through a commercial kitchen, and some of them are really good. They have like a chicken. Was it Proposition Chicken or something like that?
Proposition Chicken.
And then they have the Mr. Beast thing. I don't know. He's some YouTube guy or some shit like that. And he made a DoorDash thing. That looks pretty good. I haven't tried it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, no, the Chica place is pretty good. Although it just made me want like Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. That place is so fucking dope.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't even know it was a thing. I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I just discovered it by accident. I'm like, there's a chicken and waffle place over here.
What is
I was
that?
like, it's like a random place for a chicken and waffle. And my buddy was like, it looks kind of run down. And I was like, it's kind of what you want out of a chicken and waffle place, though, right? But it's not run down. You go inside, it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, he wasn't into it. He was like, I didn't really like it.
Like, are you crazy?
I'm like, dude, are you kidding? This shit is dope. And the waffles are like all thin and flat. And I was like, it kind of looks like they're gonna be lame, and they're not. They're fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like,
They found like the right ratio for chicken and waffles and everything else in between.
and just like the right crunch on the waffle, the right ratio, the right like crispiness on the chicken, the right seasonings on the chicken, the right juiciness on the chicken. It's just like, it's like a perfect marriage. Like unequivocally the best chicken and waffles I've ever had. Although Moe's in Campbell is pretty fucking good too.
Okay, I always see that option on DoorDash.
Yeah, Moe's in Campbell has a pretty good chicken and waffles. I think they call it the Cluckin' Waffle. So
Okay.
it's pretty good.
What else? Oh, I've been watching a new series on Netflix called Lupin. If you're familiar with that,
Lupin?
yeah.
It's an anime, right?
Lupin the Third is an anime.
Oh, okay.
But I guess the original work is based on some French work. It's like The Gentleman Burglar.
Oh.
So it's like the whole series is basically there's an overarching like plot within the series. I think there's only 5 episodes in the series. There's only one season, I think, that I know of. But anyway, it's like each episode is kind of like a a caper film.
Oh, cool.
So I really dig that stuff. So yeah. It's basically a character that kind of based his life on that character Lupin. No one really knows his identity. He's kind of like he kind of gets inspiration from that character, that fictional character.
Huh.
And it's pretty cool. It's a foreign series, French.
Ooh.
The only shitty part is all dubbed, which I don't.
Oh yeah, I don't mind subtitles.
Yeah, I don't mind subtitles. I wish it had the option, but it's all.
That's so weird that they wouldn't even have the option. Yeah, that one show is that way. That one where it's like, it's Swedish or Finnish, and it's like dark or
dark. Yeah,
it's like that, and it's like
so bad.
From what I can tell, it's like a halfway decent show. It's not like terrible. It kind of has some cheesy elements to it, but it seems pretty kind of like brooding and cool. But then it's like all dubbed, and it's like kind of fucking ruins.
Yeah, it throws me off.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't mind it in animes where it's like I can't actually see that the actors aren't expressing themselves in the same way because it's animation. It's fine, but yeah. Just they keep talking about they're gonna make a live action Cowboy Bebop movie, but I'm sure that'll be a shit show.
Who knows?
Yeah,
but yeah, I definitely recommend that show. So far, like halfway through it, it's not like super highbrow like Sherlock, but it's it's fun.
Yeah, I mean I don't find Sherlock super highbrow, but it's definitely more highbrow. But maybe that's just because I'm American and it's a BBC show. I'm just like, I think British is fancy.
Yeah, it could be a total shit show. It's like, I love this. It's so good. It's like so trashy.
Some people are that way. They're like, yeah, it's actually really good. And I'm like, it's kind of like British trash like show. Yeah. It's fucking awful. Like,
yeah.
Why do people like this?
They're Anglophiles. Anything that comes out of that place is like, it's the gospel almost.
It's like they just think there's no such thing as British trash.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, there's some shows that are really trashy. I just can't think of the titles. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. Watching what else? Currently listening to Ready Player 2, the sequel to Ready Player 1.
It's like a book?
Yeah.
And you're listening to the book of the book based on the movie, or that was originally a book?
It was originally a book,
oh, I didn't
and
know
this
that.
is the sequel to that.
Huh.
Ernie Klein, who did the first one, that's a pretty enjoyable read. It's a little bit less of the first book, where it was like, check out, remember this? Remember berries?
Remember berries? Yeah.
You remember this?
That's what I didn't even know it was a book. I just thought it was a movie.
It
seemed like member berries all over the place.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, and then I'm kind of got away to a big chunk I really didn't like because it was all what's his fucking face? Did 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink.
John Hughes.
John Hughes. There's like a John Hughes section. I was like, I don't care. I don't like John Hughes.
Yeah, I know you really don't.
Yeah, it's like, this is so boring. I don't get any of the references. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, I don't get why people are really into John Hughes, but I don't find him as insufferable as you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. It's funny because I haven't I just recently got back into my book. I've been reading the same book for like 3-4 months now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I just and I don't know why I haven't finished it. It's fucking super good.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like I don't want to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I get it.
Like you're being with a lady and you're like, slow it down. I don't want this to be over yet. You know, it's so good.
Kind of slow pump it. Pump the brakes, bro.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm getting down to the end of it, and it's super fucking good. So I will report back with that. I'm almost certainly will be a pretty hard recommendation once I finally finish it. I've only got a couple chapters left.
Then he pressed the button on the God machine.
Yeah.
Everything was okay.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's like a fantasy book. I think I talked about it before. It's like a fantasy book, but it's not fantasy genre.
Oh.
It's
fantasy adjacent.
It's literary fiction, but it just has a fantasy backdrop. But the plot itself isn't really terribly fantasy oriented. But yeah, super duper good. And I got that new Martin Amis book lined up after this. So that's pretty good too. Which is a novel. I didn't realize it was a novel initially. So it's kind of weird.
Damn it.
Oh no. Do I have another one? I don't know if I have another one.
Damn.
Keys, lighter. Nope. I think that's it.
Okay. What else? I think that's it for me. I didn't really watch, other than those 2 series in the books. So pretty much that's it for me.
I watched Primal Fear with the old lady last night for the first time in like 10 years or something like that. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Was on Netflix. They're getting ready to take it off. No, not Netflix. Prime. It's on Prime. By the way, you know what else is on Prime now?
What?
Chinatown.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on there now.
I was going to watch it on...
before they take it away again.
Yeah, I was going to watch it on Wednesday, but that just didn't happen for some reason.
But yeah, we watched that. So that's Ed Norton's breakout role. Still a pretty good movie, but I realized there's a lot of plot holes in it. Like, watching it like the 3rd time, I think, I was like, there's a lot of plot holes in this fucking movie. Things that don't add up. Like, the plot twist is cool at the end and everything, but it just kind of like raises a lot of questions when you really get to thinking about it. Like, wait a minute, it doesn't add up. But, worth a watch.
Wait, who's in that movie?
Richard Gere, Laura Linney, the guy that played Frasier's dad in the show Frasier. I never remember that actor's name.
The old guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's in a lot of stuff. He was in Say Anything and all that. And then obviously Ed Norton. And I think that's everybody. A couple of other people that are faces, not names.
Oh, that's the one where he like act his ass off. He's like, "I'll show you, old man, with these moves."
Yeah,
is that his first role?
It's like his breakout role. I don't think it's his very first role, but it definitely was the role that put him on the map. Where he plays this altar boy with a split personality who murders this archbishop, and Richard Gere is his defense attorney. So it's like a courtroom drama. And then the whole thing at the end of the movie is, spoiler alert, is that so they like the lawyer guy kind of like slow plays the situation, because the big conundrum of the movie is that like he pleads not guilty because he doesn't think that the dude did it. And then it starts to come out that like he's got like this alternate personality, who the alternate personality like likely committed the murder, but he can't plead insanity because he's already pleaded not guilty. And so he can't plead insanity, and so he just tries to like get the alternate personality to come out during the trial so that it will basically be a mistrial, which is exactly what happens. And then at the end of the movie, there's this reveal that like there is no split personality, that Ed Norton's character just orchestrated the whole situation, and that he's just a fucking psycho. Which is a pretty good twist, but then it also just kind of raises a lot of other questions about other things in the movie, which is namely like the whole narrative of the film is that they try to establish motive because the archbishop like forced him into like to perform like in these like porno movies with his girlfriend and this other altar boy. And, he has like this history of abuse and everything. And he was like homeless and yada, yada, yada. And then, so then it's like, Ed Norton's character killed him because of that. But it's like, dude, if you were like this manipulative, conniving, super aggressive psychopath, like how could he have possibly like manipulated you into that? And my girlfriend brought up an interesting point, which I never thought of before, which she was like, do you think at some point there was, because it's Aaron is the meek one and Roy is the like evil one that committed the murder. And he says, and Richard Gere says to him at the end, he's like, so you were just putting me on the whole time, right? There never was a Roy. And he says, no, there never was an Aaron, right? And but Diana's like, do you think there was a possibility that there did used to be an Aaron and that Roy just kind of overtook him at some point? Because how would he have like, certainly somebody that's as aggressive and manipulative as him would never have allowed himself to be exploited in such a way. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. And then, especially because he alludes to the fact that when he's in his Roy persona or whatever, at the end of the movie, that the woman that was like Aaron was pretending he was in love with, that was made to perform with him in the movie, Roy intimates that he killed her and presumably like just got away with it. And admittedly, she was like a nobody and this other person was an archbishop. So obviously it's much easier to get away with something like that. But it's like he orchestrated that murder all cloak and dagger, but then he made this big show and this big game of cat and mouse with the bishop. It's like, it just doesn't really gel nicely. It gets by on the strength of Ed Norton's performance and the plot twist, which is good. So it's basically just like Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's like Ed Norton's really good, and there's no like, but this
I got a role for you, son.
yeah. But this movie doesn't have like, it isn't starring Brad Pitt's abs as well.
Yeah.
So it's like his dick roots all over that movie. It's like, oh yeah. Look, he's
Do you think that was like the beginning of Dick Root? It was like, dude, what's up with this dude? What is that? I don't know. It's Dick Root.
But then chicks were like, falling and hurting themselves on the kitchen floor because of the puddles at their feet after they watched the movie. So they were like, maybe this is the thing we can do. McConaughey, get that dick root out.
All right.
All right, I'll do it, Brad Pitt. Go dick root over here. Sometimes it's down here in Kentucky. We just call it. Where is he from? Texas. He's from Texas.
Take off a shirt and barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, so we watched that. I think that was just about the only thing I really watched this week. I was really on a watching kick. I haven't really been mediating, which is weird because I haven't really been reading either. I've been writing a little bit, but
You're turning into a potato.
yeah. Well, no, apartment shit. This has kept me fucking busy. I've been playing chess. I've been apartmenting, working.
Oh yeah, you're pretty much me like 4 months ago.
Oh yeah.
So what are you doing? I'm just fucking moving shit, bro.
Still doing it. Yep. Moving, unpacking, packing, hanging stuff up, painting, putting together furniture. That's what I've been doing. So it's like, I don't have a whole lot of time between those things. I've been talking to my girlfriend a lot. That's actually nice. Because sometimes we'll just go like a whole week and we want to say like 3 words to each other. And then like sometimes we'll get into conversation. Yeah, have you seen Devs? And because she'll be tired and then she'll be working and then she'll have something that she has to go do and then she'll go hang out with her friend and I'll be working and then I'll be playing D&D and then it's like we won't really, but like we've actually had time to just like have conversations this week, from sit down and talk to each other for like an hour and a half, which doesn't happen that much.
There's nothing else to distract you. Sitting on your lone couch.
But yeah, I felt like I watched some other movie too. I don't know what it was though. Oh, we finished watching another season of Top Chef because she wanted to watch that again. So we kind of ground through a season. Mostly I showed her this one season of Top Chef because I was really curious as like an outsider's perspective.
Like how good is it?
Well, no, how good is this chef that's on the show? Because I watched the show and there's this dude on the show and his name is Paul Key. And so after like the 15th or 16th season, I think it's on season 17 or 18 now, so I don't know how up-to-date this information is, but the head judge of the show, Tom Colicchio, he said that Paul Key was unequivocally the best chef that they had ever had on like 15 seasons of Top Chef. And he was talking about a lot about how they had to do a lot of clever editing to kind of like keep the drama of the show alive.
Oh, he's just beating the brakes off of everybody. He's like, I can't compete with this dude.
Kind of.
This guy's a machine.
Kind of. And, they were like, we had to keep, as a show, you got to kind of keep the drama. And he's a really kind of soft-spoken and quiet guy. And so they were like, that really helped. But, like, you don't realize, because we get to the end of the show, and she's like, I don't know who's going to win. And I'm like, really? You don't? And she's like, I don't know. I feel like it could be that Sarah gal, but it's like, Paul's really good. And I'm like, okay, so they do a good job with the editing.
Yeah.
And she's like, why? I'm like, do you not realize that, like, there was 29 chefs, and there's an elimination challenge for every chef. And so there are 17 elimination challenges. Paul wins 9 of them.
Yeah.
And then there's quick fire challenges too that go with each pair. Like, so there's equal amount of them. And he wins like 4 of the quick fires and like half of the elimination challenges. And I was like,
I don't know who's going to win.
Right. But it's like some of them are team challenges. And like when he wins, he's like, oh, that's really great. I won. He's like,
that was really tough. It had me sweating a lot.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous.
I'm
really good.
He kind of is like that. He's kind of like, oh yeah, this is like a really nervous time. I don't really know what the judges are going to think. And they're like, oh, it's like some of the best tasting food I've ever had. So that's great. He's just like super quiet.
Like, thanks, I know.
Yeah. No, he's Korean, I think. So he's just kind of has like that, oh shucks.
Oh, yes, it's very good.
No.
Oh, wait, okay.
No.
I had to do it.
He's Korean American.
Oh, okay.
But so yeah, I was just kind of curious. I was like, I wonder, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's gonna be that guy from like the 4th or 5th episode. I was like, it's gonna be that guy. He's like way better than everybody else.
Just dunking on people. Tomahawk.
Yeah. And then like especially because like he does poorly in one of the early challenges, and he just like as much as he can seem flabbergasted, he's like okay, like I did poorly, and then like the next episode, it's like he comes out, he just like dunks on the quick fire, and then he comes out and just runs away with the elimination challenge, and then wins the next quick fire in the next episode. He's like, oh fucking what?
It's like Asian upbringing.
I ain't no good. What? Fucking show you.
I'm Asian, not Bishan.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But yeah, so we watched that, and I was like, oh, is this some cooking show? Watched a couple more episodes of that British baking show with my old lady. Oh man, that show is the fucking worst. So bad. It's like
I've heard nothing but good things about that show, because it's like the anti like reality TV contest show, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing about it is the reason that everyone likes it is because everybody just says a bunch of nice stuff about everything.
Yeah.
And when you realize that when like everybody's just saying a bunch of nice stuff, there really is no variation. They're basically just saying the exact same thing about every other person.
It's lovely.
They're like, oh, it's really good. You know, I really like the flavors work together, you know.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Legend, bruv.
Yeah, it's just like, you know. And then it's like, okay,
it's
well,
good, ain't it?
Like you don't have an idea like who, like, okay, so who did well?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know who did well. Like, oh, that guy got eliminated. He didn't do well. Like, and but yeah, we were watching it. There was one on there too. I was kind of impressed. We watched a few episodes, and I think like 3 episodes, and like one of the better chefs on that show is like 17 or something like that, and it's like super. And I don't think they're shining her on because it's like, you know, I mean, the show wouldn't be surprising if they were like, "You're just doing so good, sweetheart."
Yeah.
But like they show her like going like, "All right, I don't really this recipe," because sometimes they get like a recipe, they don't have all the details of how to make it. They're just told what it's supposed to be like, and she's like, "Okay, the cherries are not supposed to sink to the bottom." She's like, and so I think what you have to do is I think you have to coat them in flour, because if you coat berries in flour, then they'll suspend in the cake batter easier. Right. And so you see her like working this out and like thinking about stuff like this, like the science of it. And she's usually right. And she does pretty well. Like, I don't think she won any of them, but she came in like 2nd and 3rd in a couple of them. And, you know, did pretty well in a couple of the challenges. And I was like, well, that's pretty impressive for a kid that like, and she's just like powerfully adorable. Right. She just kind of has like this, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, she's like just this, just like, it's like, okay, kid. And then, but inevitably, like, if she doesn't win, like, her little soul is going to be crushed. But I'm sure they'll do it in a nice British way so that she'll feel good about everything. Because, you know, they're all, like, happy when I made some really great friends. And you contrast that with Top Chef, where people are just like, I'm not here to make friends.
Yeah.
I'm here to fucking win. And you're just like, whoa.
Whoa, buddy.
I'm trying to get that money. And meanwhile, British Baking Show is like, it'd just be good to have the title. There's no money or anything.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it's stupid.
Now I remember why I didn't watch Chinatown on Wednesday. I was trying to build my cult of community watchers. I was watching a couple episodes with Chris Davis.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, check this episode out, bro. It's pretty good.
I almost started it this week. I was like, oh, I should watch some Community. And then I watched something else instead.
Yeah, I got to watch Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's the second one. We saw the first one. There's a second one.
I've only seen the first one, yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty entertaining. It was kind of interesting because, like, they're playing D&D, but they're trying to get this father and son, you know, kind of try to have them just amend.
All right.
And for some reason, the party breaks up. So they have to do different quests in different rooms because they, like, fall in a ravine. They're split amongst this river, like on the 2 sides of a river, and they have to get to this mountain. So Abed has to go between 2 rooms to do 2 different adventures. So it's pretty interesting to see that.
That's a baller DM right there.
Yeah. So I was like, that's pretty good.
I'd just be like, you 4, go home until next week. We'll run the part of your quest later.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. Oh, actually, that kind of reminded me of when we were watching on Twitch that D&D campaign. How many people? There was like 6 or 7 people playing.
God, that was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, like that. I was like, how do you manage that?
You don't.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. Any more than 5 just gets to be unmanageable. It's crazy.
Yeah.
With our campaign, it probably wouldn't be so much. You and Beto were kind of quiet. So if we had like 5 or 6 people and there was like a couple of more Chris Davises in the mix, maybe it would be like a normal amount of talking. Like Beto talks sometimes, but then he just like sometimes he feels like it seems like he's like, oh, I don't want to talk all the time. You're the face. You're like the high charisma guy that's like your job is to talk a lot. So it's like, I don't, if it's not you, who's it supposed to be?
It's not gonna be me.
No, it's not going to be you.
Yeah, because I'm the fucking soldier.
You designed a character concept that doesn't like have to do with that.
Yeah.
And so that's understandable.
Yeah, I just scoff at you like, fucking wuss.
I sack tap him.
Yeah.
Fucking dragon gauntlet. Clang.
You can't hit my nuts. My nuts are inside my body.
I don't really. How do Dragonborn? I don't understand.
How do Dragonborn?
I don't know. Like what? I don't know anything about like what they're supposed to be like.
I just imagine there's like kind of like bearded dragons. All their organs are in the inside. They have like vents that open, and
Your organs aren't in the inside.
well, it's not like your nuts. They're kind of outside of your body.
Yeah. But I mean, do they have like a dick like a cat, like a barbed fucking lipstick, or like...
Yeah, they probably have like a wiener bone, like most like animals do. You know about the wiener bone?
Yeah.
Like it comes out.
Yeah, but I don't
pee
know.
comes out too.
But like, I don't know.
What?
Do they have tails? Do they not have tails?
I thought in the books
do
they
they
don't
have?
tails.
Do they have the weird backward legs?
Yeah, I wanted my character to have weird backwards legs, but I don't know if they have.
I've
those.
seen pictures in both
Yeah.
with tails, without
Mhm.
backward leg, not backward legs.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is when you see Lady Dragonborn, they have breasts. How does that work?
They're lizards. They can't have breasts.
But they do.
Yeah.
In the pictures that you see of Lady Dragonborn, they have breasts.
Yeah.
And so it's like, do they have scales on their boobs?
Do they
do they have scales on their underbellies?
Yeah.
Or are they like iguanas where they don't?
Yeah. And do they have live births or do they have eggs?
I think they hatch from eggs. I think they do deal with that somewhere.
Okay. So that doesn't make sense to have like Dragonborn have breasts.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't get into any of this stuff. That's why it's weird. It's like just like, what is Dragonborn? I don't understand. It's a weird fucking thing.
Or they're mysterious. They're kind of like Yoda. Like they're there, but we don't really know what they are.
But they obviously procreate.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just because it's like a game that you're not really supposed to pay attention to any of that stuff.
Well, we don't talk about that stuff here.
Yeah. Like what would happen? What would happen if one of the characters was like, I have a thing for Dragonborn chicks, and I'm trying to smash this Dragonborn chick, and you're like, okay, so I like take her clothes off. What's she look like? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like the Wookiee idea.
Yeah.
It's like, does like Chewbacca, does he have his dick out all the time? Or does he have a wiener bone? Right? So his nuts are just hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
Like a dog.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you're like standing here next to Chewbacca and his dick's like in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just happening.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things about that. Like why can certain races procreate and other races cannot? Like elves and humans can procreate and make half elves.
Mm-hmm.
Orcs and humans can procreate and make half orcs.
But dwarves only have sex with dwarves, right? Or does there have dwarves?
I don't know.
Oh.
Halflings and dwarves and halflings.
Yeah.
Dragonborn and halflings. What are the logistics of that?
Well, technically, a Dragonborn is like a halfling, right? Because it's a half dragon, half.
Right. From origin, right? Like the origin of it is a dragon mating with a human, but now they're their own race where they breed with other Dragonborn. So as a Dragonborn character, you have two Dragonborn parents. You don't have one dragon parent and one human parent.
Yeah.
You have two Dragonborn parents. Same, but an half orc can have two half orc parents, or an orc and a human parent. Same thing with half elves. And so it's like, I don't like, but they're not clear about like Goliath, which are like half giants. Do they have two Goliath parents, or do they have a giant parent and a human parent?
How does that work?
How does that fucking work?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a Chihuahua having sex with like a Great Dane.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Something will come out of it, but it's like, how does the logistics of it, how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even if you just scale it down, like you say a Dragonborn, or even just a half orc, so one of the bigger races, and a halfling. I mean, halflings are built basically like 6 or 7-year-old children. They're like 3.5 feet, and they weigh like 30 to 45, 50 pounds.
Okay.
So they're built like children, basically. How does that work? like, can they procreate with each other, or is it just like not accommodating? It's like the wrong size dongle or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work.
Who knows?
Yeah. And like, you know, in the worlds of D&D, like, do dwarves just not find any other race attractive?
Yeah, they're like super racist.
Yeah, or maybe they just, or are there some like halflings that are like, I'm about that fucking dragonborn penis, right? Like they just got like a fetish for it or something.
Yeah.
The way Chris's character seems to have a fetish for elves, or whatever. Or was that his last character? I don't remember. That was his last character. Was really into like elves and like elven chicks. It's like, but that makes sense because, like, you know, in every iteration of any fantasy thing ever, elves are just, or at least female elves are very attractive. Male elves are just kind of really pretty. So if you're into like pretty boys or whatever, then that's a thing.
Mickey Free is not a girl; he's a man.
Yeah, it's just all look like Orlando Bloom. Exactly. But anyway. That was a side tangent on something. I don't know. Community. That's what we were talking about originally.
So I'm trying to build my cult.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only person that watches it. It's like, come on, man. The water's fine. It's good.
All right. Yeah, I'll resolve. I'm gonna start it. I'll start it this week. Or next week, I guess. At some point before we podcast again, I will get some episodes under my belt. Yeah. Especially because they're only half-hour episodes, right? So
yeah, they're pretty short.
Crank through them.
Man, it's pretty long though. It's like 20, or is it 12? I feel like there's more. I never pay attention to the number of episodes per season.
If it was a network.
So I think it's 20 something.
Yeah, usually 22 to 24.
Yeah.
But some of them do as short as like 16 or 17. I forgot to tell you last week. I did watch the first couple of episodes of Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah.
I rewatched the first 2 episodes, the Cat and the Claw or whatever, the one with they introduced Catwoman and Red Claw. I forgot that was even a character.
Red Claw.
Yeah.
Do you want to fight his enemy, White Claw?
So
ain't no laws when it comes to the claw.
Red Claw is a terrorist who is like trying to smuggle munitions in through Gotham, and then gets hold of some plague and is like holding Gotham ransom with the plague. And Red Claw's a woman, actually. You learned that in the episode, which is pretty cool. For a show that's pretty old, it was like Catwoman's kind of a fucking badass, and Red Claw is kind of a badass, and it's like 2 like strong ladies. Although like rewatching it, I was like, man, you can tell that I didn't have a well-developed sense of how physics worked when I was a kid, because I'm watching some of this shit and I'm just like, how does physics? Like, it doesn't know. Some of it just like doesn't make any sense. It's pretty not great.
Yeah, how does he jump off a 10-story building and like drop kick somebody and not break your legs and kill the dude at the same time?
Or never mind that, but like sometimes he'll shoot up his little battering, and it's like, and then he'll be swinging. And then it's like, okay, so that works if he can attach it to something above him and swing down with gravity. But then sometimes it'll just be like he'll swing down and then suddenly he'll just be like swinging up. Yeah. And like you're like, wait a minute, how is he swinging up? Or like the one of the opening scenes is like Catwoman, and she's got claws, and she's literally just crawling up the side of a building. Like, not like she's got like, climbing gear and shit. It's like we're supposed to just believe her claws like go into the bricks of the building, and that's like enough to like
her fingers won't rip out of her sockets.
Right, she has enough arm strength and like, muscular skeletal like tension to like not die from that. But all that considered, it was pretty much held up. The animation is still just as good as it was. There's like I didn't realize how many seasons that ran. Because
7 or 8.
Yeah, and I can tell just by looking at the thumbnails that the animation changes significantly over the course, and like there's like a certain point where I didn't keep following it, because the first season is like 60 episodes or something like that. It's fucking like incredibly long. And I was like, because it only shows there was like a few seasons, and I was like, how is there only a few seasons of this? And then I was like, oh, it's because the first 2 seasons are like 64 and like 42 episodes or something like that. Yeah. But they really do cycle through just the rogues gallery pretty well. Yeah. For Batman, it's like all of the first like 7 or 8 episodes especially are just all like the big like rogues gallery.
My favorite ones are usually Well, the Mr. Freeze one.
Oh, yeah.
The beginning of or the introduction of him was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the Raj Al Ghul stuff I really enjoyed because it was like a long, continuous kind of plot.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious, like in the comics, was Raj Al Ghul like the big bad? Because I always think the Joker's like kind of the big bad.
I wouldn't say he's the big bad, but he's more of a personal nemesis to Bruce Wayne. Because,
detective.
Yeah, and there's just like a lot of plot lines that harken back to like his training and his ninja training and shit like that. And there's even a guy that like gets introduced at one point that was like his ninja rival or some shit.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
He comes on the stage and like Robin has a go with him, and he's like, "Why is Bruce so afraid of this guy? He's kind of a wuss." And so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think just the portrayal of Ra's al Ghul in the cartoon is better than the portrayal of the Joker. The Joker's like he's more of the Batman 66 Joker than he is Killing Joke Joker, which is more my jam.
Yeah.
And mostly because because it's a kids show, you kind of have to have him be a little more cartoony. Because a lot of their plots are always like centered around something ridiculous, like having to do like the Penguin's going to release a bunch of penguins into Gotham, like oh no, or whatever. Like I think in one of the movies, it's the Joker is going to turn Gotham's water supply to Jello or something. Like that's what he's going to do, is because he's like a practical Joker, and it's like yeah, okay, that's not really the whole crux of what he's about, but whatever. But no, yeah, I just watched the first couple episodes. That was pretty cool. I think I'm done with The Leftovers. I got like 5 episodes in.
You left over that stuff.
Yeah. This is a little melodramatic. I gave it a pretty good run, and I probably would have watched a little bit more of it, but my old lady was like, I'm not really into this show. And I'm like, yeah, I was kind of like giving it the benefit of the doubt just because of all the critical acclaim it has.
No, it gets better in the second season.
Supposedly it does. The first season's pretty well regarded, but the second season is like the second and third seasons are like really, really highly acclaimed. Like pretty much universal acclaim. Like
Okay.
Just Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes. What's the other one? The big aggregate reviewer.
IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb. So like on all 3 of those, like the first season has like an 8.8 out of 10 on all. Like if you were to average it on all 3 of those, like somewhere between 8.4 and 8.10, which is a pretty fucking respectable score considering how many people have viewed it and rated it, right? It's not like a fairly new movie. It's like the Shawshank Redemption having 100% is like a big fucking deal. The movie's pretty old and lots of people watched it and rated it. But then the second and third seasons are like 93, 94, 95.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're really fucking high.
Yeah.
And like I said, it won like best outstanding drama like a couple for the second and third seasons when like Mad Men was like in his 4th and 5th season, and when Breaking Bad was like in his 3rd and 4th season. It's like, really, you're putting that in the same category as those 2 fucking shows? Like, I feel like that might have just been like, oh, it's HBO, of course it's good, why wouldn't it be good?
Yeah.
It's like fair assumption, but but you fucking saw the 3rd season of Breaking Bad, right? Pretty good, I guess. So yeah, I probably would have watched, maybe finished out the first season and then see where it went from there. But the old lady was like, yeah, I'm just kind of a little overly dramatic. And I'm like, yeah, agreed. Some of the things in it it's weird because some of the things in it, it's like, I can't really see where it's going. And so it's intriguing. And some of the things are just so incredibly obvious. It's like, of course that's going to happen. Why wouldn't that happen? Like, it's just super duper obvious. And none of the things that are like not obvious have I really gotten answers to yet. So do you know the premise of the show at all?
People like, was it a percentage of the population just disappears, right?
Yeah, 2% of the population.
Oh, just 2?
2%. Yeah, it's not even, I thought it was going to be bigger too.
Yeah.
2% of the population disappears just randomly. And so then they're dealing with the after effects of that. And then in the wake of that, like they intimate that there's all these kind of like weird cults popping up. So it's in whatever this narrative of the world is, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms also is alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and cults. Oh. It's like a new branch because there's so many cults. And one of them is, what is it? The gods... Fuck, I forget what it's called. Because they always just use the initials GN or something like that, GNP. And so there's this cult of people, which the protagonist, who's the sheriff of this small town in New York State, his wife leaves for this cult. And then his son also has like fled and is kind of caught up in some sort of weird, vaguely cult related activity. But his wife joins this cult and they like all wear all white. They don't speak. And they just smoke a lot.
Okay.
And they're constantly just like disavowing people of like that you're loved, like they're basically nihilists.
Okay.
They're just like everything is fucking meaningless,
They
basically.
have to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
listen to the Smiths or something like that.
Yeah, they're just constantly smoking, and they don't explain why, and they don't like. And it's just like, so that's kind of like
Mystery box.
Yeah, it's kind of intriguing. Like, well, I would venture to guess you're going to learn this eventually, but it kind of raises questions. It's like, okay, so then this cult, and even one of the characters that's in it, Liv Tyler, she calls it a cult, which is weird because she joins. I didn't think people that ever joined cults knew that they were cults.
Yeah.
She's like, what kind of cult are you running here? And so they don't talk, so they write stuff down. And she's like, it's not a cult. And it's like, well, no, it definitely is a cult. But how do you promulgate whatever your thesis is if you can't speak to someone?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really weird. And then so he's got like this son that's off, and he's like dealing with some other guru guy, and this guru guy is kind of caught up in I think he's kind of like wrangling like high power people under his wing, and then something happens where like the government like raids his compound, and then this woman that's pregnant with the guru's baby, the sheriff's son takes her and is like escorting her somewhere to like meet up with the guru at a later date. So that's happening, and then meanwhile the sheriff has a daughter. Her brother went off into a cult, and her mother went off in a cult. And her dad is like a sheriff, has to deal with all the cult shit in the town, and all this other stuff. And so she's really fucked up. And then she's got like a friend, and her friend is like,
joining a cult.
Her friend is just like edgy girl who like is just like, no human is this like edgy. She's just
You'd be surprised.
She's a total edgelord. And so there's that going on, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like. There's some interesting stuff in there for sure, but it's just not all like coalescing in a way. It's just like and then there's the other guy is a priest. He's a priest, and what happened is his sister, he's a priest, and they had like this family church, and then now like no one is coming to church, so he's like losing the church, and he ends up losing the church to the cult. The cult buys the church out from under him, and his sister lost her husband and like her 2 children, like she's alone now.
Yeah.
And his big thing is that he is proving that all of the people, because they like have this big holiday a year after or 2 years after, that they call it Heroes Day, to honor all the people that were disappeared. And so his whole thing is just like, most of these people were not good people. And he's like shining a light on the fact that like some of them were total fucking scumbags. A lot of them were total scumbags. But some of them were also children who were obviously like not scumbags. And so he's like trying to figure out like, how do we like, so he's trying to like bring it to light, and people hate him. Like they just see him in the street and like punch him in the face and shit.
Oh, wow.
Because he's basically just like saying your loved ones are fuckers.
Scumbags.
Yeah. And so people just punch the shit out of him in the middle of the street and shit. And so it's just like
my wife's a porpoise. Fuck you.
Yeah. And so it's just like every single character just has like they fell down out of the tragedy tree and hit every fucking branch all the way down, right?
Yeah.
Just boom, 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 boom. And this is supposed to be like some small town in like upstate New York or some shit. Right?
Oh yeah, can you believe it was like in New York? How fucking crazy that would
It's
be.
just like yeah, it's ridiculous. And so it's like all these people. It's like really all this like tragedy and drama and like this supposedly, why people move to small towns in the upstate New York? Because they're quiet and there's not a lot of drama, and it's like people can focus on like their knitting circle bullshit and the micro dramas there, and like make a big deal out of that stupid shit, and what kind of school lunches there are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so it's just really, it's kind of the same problem I had with True Blood. Remember I was talking about?
Yeah, how's all this crazy shit happening in one town?
Right, and Bon Ton, right? It's fucking like just barely not the third world or whatever.
Yeah.
Like fucking 40 people live there, and 8 of them die in the first
We just
3.
got running water.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because they make it a point in the first season of like, that show, like every episode picks right up where the last one left off. So the whole first season is like 12 or 13 days, or maybe not even that, maybe 10 days. And it's like, this is a town of like a few thousand people, and like 5 people die in less than a week in gruesome fashion, and they're not like freaking out. There's no like citywide lockdown, or like
National Guard should be there, shooting people
just
for
fucking
no reason.
crazy shit happening, and they're just like, oh yeah, this is how I go in Bon Ton sometimes. You know, you're just like, what? Yeah, because vampires, you know, they real.
Yeah.
It's like fucking whatever, man. But yeah. So I was that's my diatribe on the leftovers. I don't know that I'm gonna go back to it.
No, okay. Let's move on to news.
Oh yeah.
One of the biggest news stories this week. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Stonks. All the stonks.
Stonks?
Yes, stonks. GameStop AMC shares surge after Reddit users lead chaotic revolt against big Wall Street funds. Have you heard of this?
No, I have not.
Oh my, really?
Yeah.
Okay, this will be interesting.
I heard somebody say, the whole GameStop thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I just fucking like went away from them.
Shares of video game retailer GameStop and movie theater giant AMC Entertainment soared to astronomical levels Wednesday as an apparent swarm of ordinary investors spurred on by a Reddit message board took on big Wall Street funds that had bet the stock prices would fall. GameStop shares more than doubled to $347.51 and have soared more than 400% this week. AMC, beleaguered by the coronavirus pandemic.
Jinx.
Yeah. And stay-at-home measures quadrupled to $19.90 a share. So what happened is the subreddit Wall Street Bets found out this hedge fund was shorting GameStop stocks. And they're like, fuck this. We're just going to pump it up and crash this hedge fund. And they did.
Nice.
So apparently like a couple hedge funds, like billions of dollars were lost because of Reddit.
Yeah, don't underestimate, especially in the whole Bernie Sanders AOC world, people's total vitriol for like hedge fund billionaires.
Yeah. And across the board, like talking to a whole bunch of people are not fucking crying any tears for these hedge fund people.
Fuck,
like,
I'm not. Fuck them.
Yeah. And it's pretty funny when the the president of the SEC and NASDAQ were like, oh, the government has to step in and put regulations on this. You can't be doing this.
What? It's investing? Can't poor people investing in shit? What are you talking about?
Well, us rich people could do this, but you guys are not allowed to.
Yeah. You're not allowed to influence the market that, actually influences your lives, where we over here are so price insensitive to anything that you can make a gallon of milk $1,000 and it wouldn't affect our lives.
Yeah, it's the free market.
Right.
Let the free market do this
free
thing.
market.
So this article's a little bit old, but trading apps like Robinhood and other apps kind of stopped trading on GameStop and AMC. You can only sell your stock. And people are just up in arms like, what the fuck is this? Like, why don't you just let us trade? This is what your app's for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're stopping us from doing that?
Yeah.
And they're just kind of just, I guess Google won like a purging thing on their app store to take down all the 1-star reviews.
Not surprising. Well, here's the thing is if you're like some billionaire fucking hedge fund guy, this probably seems similar because you're so out of touch with the difference between like motivated people with a common goal and a common hatred for something mobilizing in a way that is meaningful to them. Mm-hmm. You probably think, if you're the billionaire hedge fund guy, this is like when they let them name that boat and they named it Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah.
This is just internet trolling. We can't have that. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's a completely different thing. You're just too old and rich to really understand what the difference is.
How dare you?
Yes. That's my 3rd monocle this week. I really should stop being so shocked by things.
So it's just funny to see the reactions from like the old guard. It's like, they can't be doing this. They're uneducated. They shouldn't be allowed to do this stuff. There's just for a joke.
Yeah, that's the attitude that you have when, you're, a super It's like, hey man, free markets and like like why is the government interfering? It's like, oh hey, the auto industry is broke. Yeah, well, I mean, you can't just let us go under, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what kind of market would that be? A free market. That's kind of what kind of market it would be.
Yeah.
It would be capitalism, and you lost, so fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just because you can't, we're too big to fail, bro. We can't do that. It's like, no.
Should just let you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, speaking of too big to fail, I'm kind of curious to see how that'll play out with PG&E. Because they're bankrupt. You know that, right? They've been
I didn't
bankrupt.
know that.
Yeah, they're bankrupt.
Uh-huh.
They've been bankrupt for over a year now.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like, okay, so which is it? Are you a public utility and you're immune to this sort of shit and open to government regulations and like pricing and all that shit? Or are you broke?
No, none of those.
Yeah, neither.
Give
of
us money.
Yeah, not just you can't let us do that. Like we still like, like I respond to strong leadership, but like when I'm in the mood, like lead me when like I want to be led.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. On the flip side of the coin, I got something for you.
Okay.
The Black Lives Matter movement has been nominated for a 2021 Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes.
For the way its calling for systematic changes has spread around the world.
Fight the power.
Yes, in his nomination papers, the Norwegian MP Peter Eide said that the movement has forced countries outside the U.S. to grapple with racism within their own societies. I find that one of the key challenges we have seen in America, but also in Europe and Asia, is a kind of increasing conflict based on inequity. Actually, he says inequality, but whatever. We know what he means. I'd said, Black Lives Matter has become a very important worldwide movement to fight racial injustice. They have been a tremendous achievement in raising global awareness and consciousness about racial injustice. So that was a thing.
How could you give a movement a Nobel Peace Prize? I don't think those are awarded to people.
Or organizations, like, for instance, last year, the World Food Program won. Because they're like, hey, there are people that are hungry.
Yeah.
And we're going to feed them.
Yeah.
Because we don't like when people are hungry because it's a lot of food in the world. And so let's try to figure out how to more equitably distribute that food and like come up with programs to feed people. That apparently is of equal merit to the Black Lives Matter movement. That's of equal. On a similar note, apparently, former U.S. President Donald Trump was also nominated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was really going to be for the Koreas thing, but apparently it wasn't. It was for normalizing relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates under the Abraham Accords.
Cool.
I said, like, I don't know how the whole situation between North and South Korea is working, but I remember when it was in talks, I was like, okay, so my opinions of Trump notwithstanding, if like you can bring those two countries together and get them to stop hating each other and wanting to kill each other, like that's worth a peace prize. Like it's just because, first of all, because it's actual peace.
The North Koreans are still doing weird stuff.
No, they are.
Yeah.
It's out the door, right?
Yeah.
Like it's probably not going to happen.
No.
But if like for whatever reason he could wave a magic wand and the situation with North and South Korea would have been fixed, you don't think that'd be worth a peace prize? Like people have been trying to achieve that shit for 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Would have been worth it. All his other policies notwithstanding, that would have been like the one good thing he did. But then it just looks like that didn't happen. He came in, he was like, you two make nice. And they were like, yeah, okay. And then he just turned around, he was like, work done.
Flipping each other out like, fuck you, no, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, fucking pendejo. So yeah, I thought that was super, super fun. I imagine that his chances got hurt when the mob at the Congress kind of stormed and those people got killed. So
not too peaceful, is
probably not gonna really get that now. But yeah, this is just a nomination from one fucking stupid politician. So there's that. But hey, I got some lighter news if you want.
Sure.
Some lighter news. And then you get your second thing here. Let me see. Men took turns wearing bulletproof vests to shoot at each other cops. 2 Arkansas men have been arrested on suspicion of aggravated assault after police say they shot each other while taking turns wearing a bulletproof vest.
Holy shit.
The Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette reports that 50-year-old Charles Ferris and 36-year-old Christopher Hicks were arrested Monday. A police affidavit says the 2 men are neighbors and were drinking on deck Sunday when Ferris told Hicks to shoot him with his .22 caliber rifle while Ferris wore the vest. The affidavit says the shot left a red mark on Ferris's chest and that he was angry because it hurt. The affidavit says Hicks then put on the vest and Ferris, quote, unloaded the clip into his back, causing bruising but no serious injuries. Court records didn't list an attorney who could speak on behalf of either man.
Hold my beer, man. I got this vest.
Yeah, so I thought that was just worth mentioning how fucking hilarious that was. Anyway, what else you got?
Thumb injury forces top gamer to retire at 25.
Oh man, fuck. That's a hard life. That's an early retirement, bro.
The 25-year-old will stop competing for the foreseeable future because playing through the pain in his hand just isn't possible anymore. It breaks my heart to step away from a game I put my heart and soul into every single day for 8 years, Thomas said in a Twitter statement. How do you
type the Twitter statement?
You can type with your fingers. He plays for the New York Subliners and struggles with the injury, needing surgery. Going through the process of getting healthy again was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, both physically and mentally, which led to a lot of stress and anxiety.
All these blisters on my back from being a prostitute are really impeding my quality of life.
I got all these back injuries from carrying my team so much. So what's up, guys?
Fucking rude. Yeah, whatever. I have no sympathy for that loser. Fuck him.
In the prime of his life, man. Yeah. 25.
Yeah, his life's basically over. It's not like he's young enough to get a real job or anything.
Yeah, it's true. It was like 40 years old. Like, what? I've been playing video games my whole life.
Yeah. I feel like this story should be for all those people that are like, man, some people make millions of dollars. They make all kinds of money. Like, they play video games professionally. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah. But, like, that guy got that good at video games. And let's just say he doesn't have enough money to live the rest of his life comfortably on. Because he probably doesn't, because he's fucking 25. And what does he know about managing finances?
Yeah.
So then he probably quickly realized that, like, he's got to get a job at fucking In-N-Out because he spent all his time playing fucking video games. He has no other marketable skills at all. And so let that be a, lesson to the people.
Well, you could probably, like, follow in the footsteps of other professional players or in other sports, be like a commentator. Yeah. Or be like a coach.
Commentator and a coach.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny. That is really funny.
That's a risky move, Cotton. I don't know if I'll take that move.
I don't know. Band of toddlers found wandering near highway after escaping from daycare.
What the fuck?
The kids are safe, but Color Wheel Learning Center in Prairieville, Louisiana had its license revoked. No shit. A Louisiana daycare has had its license revoked after 4 toddlers somehow got loose and a driver spotted them near a local highway. The Louisiana Department of Education revoked the license of Color Wheel Learning Center in Prairieville after receiving a report on March 22 about the escape. Local news station. What, is this that old? Okay, that's weird. According to the station, daycare staff had no explanation for how the 1-year-olds got out of the play yard and ended up outside the fence by a nearby highway. The passerby who spotted the kids stopped, gathering the children, and returned them to the daycare, according to the news station. The center had a similar incident last October when a 1-year-old opened a gate and wound up in the parking lot.
What the fuck?
That led to a citation in the state for a lack of supervision, according to Baton Rouge Advocate. The outlet notes that if Color Wheel doesn't appeal to its current license revocation, or if it does appeal and it is denied, the center will, quote, be effectively closed. We are thankful these young children are safe, but we cannot ignore the recurring negligence displayed by the center, State Superintendent John White said.
Wow. Like, why would you, like, if you're a parent and you know about this one incident where the kid opens a gate and goes into the parking lot, I'd pull my kid out.
I mean, if it was just like, if it was just like one kid and one gate, and the gate were adjacent to the parking lot. I mean, we don't know if it was like maybe there's like a play yard and there's a gate and the gate open and the parking lot's right there, and the kid just wandered like 4 or 5 feet outside the gate, and someone was like, "Oh shit, the kid's outside the gate," and they went and got him. Like, that's not negligence; it's just oversight. It's just like, okay, it happens. Kids are a fucking handful. So I don't know the details about that. I don't know that I would pull my kid from a daycare in that situation, but it certainly does. It's a bad look now that this, like, a whole gaggle of fucking toddlers,
These roaming children.
yeah. Anyway, what else you got?
Okay, Apple Watch credited with helping police locate kidnapped Texas woman.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Big Brother using private things to.
Yeah. Police in Selma, Texas are crediting the Apple Watch with helping them locate a kidnapped woman. As reported by Fox and San Antonio, the kidnapped woman used her Apple Watch to call for help, and the police were able to use a cellular ping to track her.
Oh, so it's not really like specific to the watch. It's just like she made a call.
It just aided her, like, help me.
Yeah.
Help me.
You ever wonder why it's like, why are children abducted, but adults are kidnapped?
Oh, because you can just, like, swoop him up. Or, like, I abducted this guy. It's like, get down on the ground. I'm going to fucking take you.
But the phrase kid is in kidnapped, but we use it for adults.
Yeah.
And for when kids are taken, we don't use kidnapped.
Yeah.
We use abducted.
I don't know why.
That seems weird.
Yeah.
It seems like a kid should be kidnapped, not an adult. Just a linguistic preference on my part, you know?
They're both the same.
But I only ever hear kidnapped used for adults.
Oh.
Which is weird, because it should never be used for adults. It's got kid right in the title.
Yeah.
So weird. Anyway, moving on.
That's it for me for news.
I want you to react to this. I don't know if this counts as news, but I learned about it this week.
Okay.
And I wanna get your hot take on it. Hot take? Is that what you call it? Yeah. This is a thing I saw at a store.
Okay.
And
I'll pop it up if he presses or sends me the video.
Yeah. Come on. God damn it. Why is it doing that?
Oh, this stupid thing.
You seen this?
Yeah, I've seen this product.
You've seen it? It's like the dumbest fucking thing
Yeah,
ever.
for the viewers out there or the listeners out there, there's a plastic axe, and these guys are doing like CrossFit workouts with it.
It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I saw this. It was like, so you're just like CrossFitting like what people in the like Midwest do for chores.
Yeah, exactly.
Like next thing you know, they're gonna have like a snow shoveler. It's like CrossFit.
That's exactly what it made me think of. It's just like, so let me get this straight. And the thing is they have them doing it in all these like urban looking environments and shit. And it's like, just like all you people like live in the city. And it's like, you could just grow a fucking pair and actually like go somewhere where you might actually have to do some work if you want to swing an axe.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's not pretending like you fucking do. It's just for all those lumber sexuals out there, I think is what it's for.
Yeah.
It's for like those dudes that are like, yeah, well, I look like a lumberjack and now I got like this workout axe. So fucking dumb. I saw it at the store beta, which it sounds like it's for betas, so that kind of makes sense. And I was just like watching it, and Diana was like, "Oh yeah, have you seen this thing?" And I'm like looking at the fucking video. I'm like, "This is and the guy that like runs the store is like a few feet from me. I'm just like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life."
Hey man,
I'm just like mocking everything in his stupid store. Because it's like oh, do you like sharper image? Well, these things aren't as interesting, and they cost 5 times as much. And
wait, how much does that fucking thing cost?
That thing?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was a couple $100, I think.
Like, can't you get a real axe?
No, apparently not.
Why not?
I think they're just banking on the fact that anybody that would buy that wouldn't even begin to understand where you would buy an axe.
Yeah.
They don't even know places like Home Depot and Lowe's exist. So like they're just like, what are those things?
They don't sell hammers after 6 o'clock in San Jose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just they don't know. They think Home Depot is just like a place where like migrant workers hang out.
Yeah, isn't like a Starbucks for like immigrants or
Yeah,
something?
exactly. It's like a Starbucks for immigrants. Exactly.
That's like the dumbest thing. Got this plastic axe. I'm gonna swing around in my house. All right.
Don't swing it in your house, bro. That's a safety hazard.
Whoa. You want to do it outside?
Yeah, do it out. So while you're going up a flight of stairs
Yeah.
with all your athleisure wear on, your fucking Lululemon pants and your fucking coiffed hair, while you're like hefting what's the facsimile of something that's an actual tool to do stuff.
I don't
So
know.
let's get like a jackhammer, you know, like this is like a jack. Just like you get ripped using a fucking
I got this
jackhammer.
plastic shovel, and you act like you're shoveling
Yeah.
stuff. Just put it over shoulder, put it over this
It's
shoulder.
weighted to like for like an average day's snow, and you can click up the how much snow, like heavy snowfall. I'm heavy snowfall today. Yeah,
Throw it on my back.
yeah, fucking retarded. God. Anyway,
What do you feel is dumber, the shake weight or that?
definitely that.
Huh.
Absolutely that, because at least the shake weight is a weight.
Yeah, and it does like you can't replicate it unless you kind of build something like a shake weight.
Yeah.
But that's just an axe.
I mean, I'm sure it's weighted in some way, right? But it's just like, I don't like. Yeah, the shake weight is the shake weight's only like. I mean, when I saw it, I thought it was a joke, and then South Park did that episode on it, and you're like, okay, it's pretty fucking funny, because it kind of does seem like that's what it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even think it's close. I think that axe thing is fucking way dumber. The chopper, I think is what it's called. Get to the chopper.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, that's super dumb. No one's buying that.
I couldn't not share it. Like, I was so fucking in stitches about how fucking funny and stupid it was. I was like, oh my god, I'd never heard you mention it before, so I didn't know you knew what it was.
I always see dumb products. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that one just took the fucking cake for me, man. It was like, I was trying to think of something that was as absurd as that, and I can't. I was trying to think of something that would be hyperbolic, that would be like the snow shoveling thing is pretty good, but it's not more ridiculous.
Than the axe?
It's not more ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's equally ridiculous,
Yeah.
but it's not more ridiculous. I was trying to think of something that would just be like an order of magnitude more like hyperbolically like over the top. And I can't just like that's you just fucking hit the wall of how ludicrous something can be.
Yeah.
For an exercise. I mean, to be fair, the fucking Stairmaster is a little, not the Stairmaster, what was that Jane Fonda step thing? Remember that? It was just like an elevated piece of plastic. It was like basically just as tall as like two phone books stacked on top of each other.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, yeah, you do that. It's
Yeah.
like, seriously, this thing is like $180 or whatever it is. It's like just a,
Yeah, and you go to any gym, they have those like stacked up. Like, who cares? It's just a platform.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, why would you need this? But at least that was at the beginning of like the whole home workout craze. Thigh Master and all that shit, you know?
Well, the dumb thing too, for me, like, when you were boxing, was it thing to have these egg weights back in the day? Was that a thing back then?
Not that I remember. I mean,
Yeah, they're just weights that were kind of like egg shaped, and you hold them, and they're for boxers. They're like, can't you just get like a piece of like bar, like stainless steel bar, and
oh, I know. I've seen people use those.
Yeah.
But
like, why is it better than any other weight that you can just make yourself?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's like some things I just seem to have supplanted other things. As far as like we were talking about the ladders, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, the speed ladders.
Yeah. I'm like, I was just used the jump rope. I thought that's like when you were working on your foot agility, that's just what people use.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's not that the ladder's any better or worse. It's just like it's supplanted it. It seems like, or what do they use now that like supplants like a lot of boxing gyms don't have slip bags anymore. They have what the fuck are those things? Anyway, but like there's some things just like went away. Like people don't really use tape to tape up their hands anymore. They have like hand wraps. There's like reusable cloth hand wraps.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's cool. But like people just don't really use tape anymore, like at all, apparently. It's like, okay, that's kind of weird, but just supplanted. So it's like as a relic of the past now. And maybe it's better, maybe it's not. I mean, the wraps seem to be better because you don't have to go through a bunch of fucking tape. Takes a little while to get the knack of it, but all the same.
Now they got those gloves to slip in. strap in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd use it in an actual fight, but that's, if you're doing bag work or something like that, why spend like the 5 minutes when you just...
Yeah. I just always use bag gloves. I used to have those. Instead of like wrapping your hands and actual putting the gloves on, you just use bag gloves. Like you just slip them on and then they have like,
padding.
But I think it's got like a metal reinforcement around it too.
Oh.
There's like a bar on the inside of the glove
yes,
like this, and you grip around it, and then it like kind of shields your knuckles from getting fucked up and helps.
Oh, is it like the MMA gloves? Because that's what they're kind of born from.
I think so. I've never actually worn a pair of MMA gloves, so I don't know what they're like.
Because I know Tank Abbott, he had the gloves that were like what the modern day gloves are today were modeled after those. They're kind of they're bag gloves from what I understand.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what they look like basically, but they're not fingerless.
Oh, okay.
Some of them are, but like
they're like the Bruce Lee one where he's like,
well, some of them just look like almost like oven mitts.
Yeah.
They look like that, and then they have some that are fingerless, but like I don't know why you would need them to be fingerless, because if anything, you don't want to like actually get used to articulating your fingers when you're boxing. You want to have them locked up to make sure that you can make a proper fist and not fuck your wrist up. So the less freedom you have to gesticulate your fingers is probably better. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what's up with the egg weights. I could ask Devin. He's probably more up to speed on that shit than I am. Follows boxing more than I do.
I just got woke on one thing this week. I didn't know what the purpose with those notches on ice trays are for.
On notches on ice trays?
Or the end of like the ice tray. On either side, there's notches.
Notches?
Notches.
I don't remember last time I used a regular ice tray. I can't even picture what you're talking about. Like to crack the ice?
Yeah, just plastic ice trays.
Yeah.
There's notches on either end of them.
Oh.
And they're staggered. I'm like, why? What's up with these notches? It doesn't seem like they do anything. Like it doesn't help freeze the ice cubes or freeze up the ice cubes when you try to crack it open.
Is it to stack them?
Yes. That's what they were for. I was like, what the fuck are these? And I had to look on the internet.
I was trying to remember because my mom always used those kind of ice trays.
Yeah.
I have the big like plastic or not rubber ice trays.
Silicone, yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I do remember that as a kid, putting like two ice trays in there side by side. My mom was like, "Stop taking up all the space in the freezer."
That's what I always done. I've always just put them side by side. I didn't know you could stack them.
Yeah, you can stack.
I was like, they just fall into each other.
Yeah,
but apparently those are the notches are for.
Yeah,
because they're supposed to like switch them opposite side.
Yeah, I was trying to picture what it looked like, and I can't remember, but I do remember them having something on there so you could stack them. My mom telling me, "What do you think?" It's like one of those things, like or people call them life hacks. That's what it's for, right? Yeah. Like opening the Chinese container into a bowl or whatever. No one does that, but you can. I've
never seen anybody do that.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's like a urban legend someone just made up.
No, it works.
Oh, because like it's that same thing with the solo cups. Like, the lines means it's that the certain amount of ounces. Like, solo cups, like, no, we just put them there for structural reasons.
Yeah. No, but the Chinese containers are meant to be unfolded like that, and it does work. Or same thing with the hollow side of the tab on a can of soda.
Okay.
You know why that's hollow on that side? It's not just so you can grip it; it's so you can turn it around and put a straw in the can, and the straw doesn't pop up.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, people used to drink soda out of cans through straws a lot more frequently than they do now.
Yeah, and they don't even have that.
Straw? What do you mean?
Well, some like rocks, like the energy drinks, they never have the
energy drinks don't, but like Coca-Cola still does, and it does work.
Yeah.
Or the one that like Diana, I recently showed Diana. She's like, "What side is the gas tank on?" I'm like, "Well, just look on the dash." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "The little thing that the gas tank." And she's like, "What does that have to do with anything?" I'm like, "Well, what side is the nozzle on that picture of the gas tank?" And she's like, "It's on your side." I'm like, "Then the gas tank is on that side." And she's like, "Is that how it works?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sometimes there's an arrow.
Yeah.
Like there'll be a little gas tank and there's an arrow pointing to what side. But if there's no arrow, then it's just on the little picture, whatever side that nozzle is on, that's what side your gas tank is on." She's like, "I never knew that." And I'm like, "Yeah, neither did I for the longest time."
So what's your favorite life hack?
That one's pretty good. But mostly it's not super useful. It's just like, you just, because most people know what side their gas tank is on.
Yeah.
Like, you're driving someone else's car, it's helpful. But I'm trying to think of my favorite one that like I don't know. I don't know what my favorite one is. I got woke on if you have swelling in your face, your eyes, or whatever. This was great when I used to box and play hockey. What works way better than an ice pack is this frozen corn or frozen peas. It just like it conforms. It's like a bean bag for your face.
That's right,
And it just works so much better.
Yeah.
And it stays colder longer too, and it doesn't get all wet and gross. So like I have several bags of corn in my fucking freezer, so I just swap them out. Like just when I got like when I have my wisdom.
After as a snack. It's all warm.
but that one's pretty good because it's really useful. I'm trying to think. There was another one. Using the little clasps on your bread or bagels. Yeah. Those little clasps to like wrangle cords and shit. That's super fucking helpful.
Yeah.
Trying to think of another one. I don't know. What are some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites are if you're making boiled eggs, don't use a full container. Don't fill up your vessel full of water. Just get like an inch of water and then like a steam basket and steam your eggs. It's 12 minutes and you're done.
Like hard-boiled eggs? Oh.
You can do soft-boiled. You can do any kind of... You just have to time it right. Because
just cover it and put the steamer and so it sits up above the water.
Because you're only heating up this much water versus a whole vessel of water, which would take you like 30 minutes to do. Yeah. That one only takes like 5 or 10 minutes. And then you're up and running and done within, let's say, 15 minutes rather than 30 minutes plus the time to boil the eggs.
See, I do the method of the boil the water, turn it off, cover it, and put the eggs in. And then I think it's like exactly 5 minutes after that the eggs are done. So that's a good. Oh, that's another one. Speaking of eggs, this is probably my favorite one. So first of all, most people, I don't know if you know this, but like if you add a little bit of vinegar to your water when you're boiling eggs, it makes the shells of your eggs come off easier. But my favorite one is when you hard boil eggs. I like hard boiled eggs, and sometimes I'll eat like fucking half a dozen of them in a sit. But like if you take a hard boiled egg and you get something like heavy like this or a spoon and you smack it all around so that all of it is cracked. Boom, 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 boom. So that it's all cracked. You don't break the actual skin that's under that layer. And then you peel off one little spot on top and one little spot on bottom, and you hold that egg and you blow into it. It'll all just come off at once. Yeah. Like just, and you just like a whole hard boiled egg with no fucking it up. And you just do that, like, just fuck them up. That's the biggest pain is peeling hard boiled eggs. Yeah. But that's like a quick and easy method to get it all out in one go. That's probably my favorite life hack. That's pretty good.
Another one for me, I picked up from an ex.
You sound like you were going to say ex-girlfriend, and then you stopped and you said ex, which made it sound like you had an ex-boyfriend.
No, ex-girlfriend. Because I was looking for a plastic bag around here. Well, if you get any like plastic bags, and instead of like tying it in a bow and closing it up, the quickest way to do it is like get your pinchers and kind of like, I'm trying to have it like grab, pull, opposite side, grab and pull, and it closes up the bag, and you can easily undo that knot.
Yeah, I guess I can't really picture what it is you mean.
Yeah, I gotta show you.
Like it sticks together?
No, it just ties it in a knot.
Oh.
And it's to a point where it's like you can't, like people just do like a super knot where it's just like a solid
tight,
ball.
And you just have to cut the bag open.
Yeah. You just go whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Just be on your way.
That does sound handy.
Yeah. Using it for years.
Yeah. Yeah, hard-boiled eggs is a good one. But again, the bag one seems like it would come up more frequently. So the more useful ones are likely the ones that you use a lot.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
For the peeling the eggs, my method is usually getting like just like a big bowl of water and just like kind of run the egg and just kind of crack it like you do and just kind of unshell it in the water and it's already done and just
The blow method is really fast though. Like once you get good at it, it does take a little bit of like practice to get good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get good at it, it's like you just it's like yeah.
And peeling garlic too with the whole 2 big vessels, and you just shake the shit out of it. It takes all the paper out.
That's another good one. Chewing gum while you cut onions.
Oh, I never did that one.
You will not cry.
Oh, okay.
Like your eyes will not water. Oh, and if you want a suggestion on how to like not cry in other situations, quit being a little bitch.
Yeah.
Don't be a little bitch, and you won't cry about other stuff either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one works too. I don't like onions, so I don't chop onions that much. And usually when I do it on the food processor anyway. Because if you have a food processor, why wouldn't you use a food processor? I go with, like, I'm always talking to Diana about this because she's always making like tuna salad and shit. And I'll come in and she'll be like chopping onions by hand and celery by hand. And I'm like, why don't you just put it all in the food processor and pulse it like 3 times? You'd save yourself like 15 minutes of chopping vegetables. I don't want it that chopped up. I'm like, then just pulse it twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, just the more you push it, the more that's what a food processor's for.
Yeah.
But she's like, I just like doing it this way.
Yeah, I need to buy one. That's the one gadget I need or want.
If you don't want to invest in a food processor, just get a magic bullet. They're nearly the same thing.
But I want the attachments for like ricing cauliflower.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So a food processor is probably, but like I used to have a magic bullet before I ever got a food processor, and it works for most things. It's a little cruder.
Yeah, because you see like the scrambled eggs, they put like, you put some like onions, bell peppers, and just put the egg in. It makes the mix already. It's like, that's kind of gross with the way that they do it.
What's wrong with that?
It's all not mixed because like, well, I guess you have to do the eggs first, then you do. Yeah, you have to do a process.
Just pulse the eggs, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. But I see it in the video. They do it all at once. I'm like, your eggs aren't mixed together, so why would you do that?
I mean, it all mixes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to use it for that, for smoothies, to grind coffee before I had an espresso maker, just to grind coffee for like a pour over or whatever. Works really good. And they come with little lids and shit, so you just like grind it in there, and then you take it off and just put the lid right on it. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Works pretty well.
Yeah, I have a blender that has like a magic bullet like thing.
There's another great life hack that I forgot about. I use it for the food processor, but it works great for the blender too. You make something in the blender, you make margaritas or whatever you make in the blender, and the blender is dirty and it's a pain to wash it because unlike the food processor, the blade does not usually come out. So I remember having this discussion with Dave Rapp. I was like, man, how'd you cut your finger? He's like, oh, I was washing the blender after I made margaritas the other night. And I was like, why the hell would you be washing it by hand? And he's like, well, how else do you wash it? I'm like, you put a little bit of soap in it, you fill it half up with warm water, you put it on the thing, and you just push pulse, and the soapy water just agitates in there. You pour it out, you rinse it out, it's clean.
Yeah.
Like, I thought everybody knew about that. I'm like, that's like saved me so much time with a food processor.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I thought that's what everybody did, and he didn't know that. So people, if you didn't know that, like, that's how you clean your blender and or food processor.
Why?
As long as you don't get a lot of gross stuff on the outside of it.
Yeah.
And you do have to occasionally wash the outside of it, like every 4 or 5 times, because you're handling it with your gross ass hands and shit. But in general, it's a pretty good method for just like, you can use it like 4 or 5 times before like the outside of it gets really gross. It's like, you don't need to.
Yeah, I had to explain to somebody, like, just like, also if it's like all grody on the bottom, like if you don't clean it right away, like they try to put their hand through it, I just like unscrew the bottom.
Yeah, just unscrew the bottom.
What? It's like all of them unscrew.
Yeah. Yep. Oh wow. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's like that's another thing that I don't know if this even counts as a life hack because it seems pretty obvious to me, but some of these things are just apparently not obvious. Like Diana bakes, and I was trying to help her with baking stuff the other day, and like I suggested a few things, like she was trying to get this cake off the pan, and she's like, it's not coming off that right. I'm like, well, just stick a knife under there and you slide it, and then you just pivot it around, and then you take it and you like use this thing to like, you put it on the counter, and then when you want to stack it on top of the other one, you slide this back under there and you slide it on. And she's like, oh, that's really smart. But like one that had never occurred to her is she was making pasties one day and she was trying to measure out dough, and she's like picking pieces of it off, like and measuring it out. And I'm like, why don't you just use the pizza cutter?
Yeah.
And she's like,
what?
I didn't think of that. Why didn't I think of that? I'm like, because apparently you think it's only for cutting pizza. Like, it's just like this wheel that will just cut through things, and you could measure out lengthwise. Like, this is all one brick this long, and I need it to be in 5 parts, and you just cut it into 5 parts with the pizza cutter. It's just like, oh yeah. That's weird. It's like, yeah, I probably, I mean, I use the pizza cutter for pizza a lot.
Yeah.
But I use probably like half the time I use it, it's for like other shit.
Yeah, but the pizza cutter for me is just a one-time thing because my chef knife's a catch-all for everything. Because I told you I only have one knife. I only have one chef knife. And it does everything.
Oh, this is another good one too. If you're boiling something on the stove, something other than water, let's say you're boiling milk or you're boiling soup or something, right? Pasta. And there's enough water that you're worried if it boils, it'll boil over. If you just set your spoon across the like whatever wooden spoon or even just a chopstick across the top of whatever that thing is, when that froths up, it'll break up that foam and it will not bubble over.
Oh, interesting.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I mean, generally speaking, just try to watch whatever you have on the fucking stove, but
I learned on a very young age not to put a top when you're doing pasta.
that's not typically a good. Yep.
No one taught me how to do that.
There's not very many things you actually need a top on. Usually it's like things that you put the cover on and then you let it sit. Cream of wheat or rice or, you're basting eggs.
Yeah.
That's like what I use the tops for, but generally speaking, it's like no top on anything.
Apparently, okay, and another thing, like, it irks me so much. My dad was gonna do to my some of my pans here. He was using the scrubby part of the sponge on my nonstick. I'm like, don't do that. Don't ever do that, especially on my stuff. I will kill you.
I got a.
You treat it like cast iron. Like, I wipe it off mainly, and if it's really grody, I'll use a little bit of soap on the soft side.
Yeah.
And people just abuse it with the scrubby side. It's like you're just gonna take everything off. Like, I've had these pans for 10 years and they look pristine.
The thing is it's not the same thing as cast iron because you can abuse the fuck out of a cast iron pan. It just means you'll need to reseason it sooner.
Yeah.
So like mine gets pretty dirty when I use it, and so usually I do like I leave it on the stove until it's ready to be cleaned, and then I kind of like hit it with a brush and a little bit of soap, and then wipe it off.
Yeah.
But like some people don't ever they just wipe it off with like a moist towelette. Like they don't ever even put it in water or soap. And I don't know that that's not good.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just kind of like
I don't overdo it with the soap. I just put just like a drop of it just to get it going.
right.
But
you can always reseason a cast iron pan.
Yeah.
But like a fucking Teflon pan, Diana was using a fork in the Teflon pot. She was making something. Luckily, it wasn't in the Calphalon pans because the Calphalon pans are fucking expensive. And so. Like they're as expensive as like those stoneware pans. You know those pans that are made of like fucking stone?
Yeah.
And they're like Teflon coated. Like the Calphalon pans are like steel, but they're like just as expensive as those. And or maybe I just don't know how much fucking good pans cost. Fucking 2 pans, it was like $50 or $60 for like an egg pan and a fry pan. I was like, fuck, it's like $30 a pop for a fucking pan.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was used like in like a little saucepan. She's cooking soup or something. And she just like has a fork and she's like,
no.
And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's
Animal.
like, what? And I'm like, don't you ever put anything metal. This is what wooden spoons are for.
Yeah.
Like you just don't like you'll scratch up the fucking Teflon and it'll ruin it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, who doesn't know that? I'm just like getting all mad at her. It's like,
yeah, I get triggered when people do that. I'm like, oh, please don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go to my parents' place, like, look at this, you animals in your pans. There's all flaking off, you animals.
I think this is part of the reason I don't make omelets that much. Because if you know how to make an omelet properly, it actually requires you to take a fork on the edge and kind of flip it over. And a fork really is the best thing to do that. But I don't want to like risk touching my pan with the fucking fork. Yeah. Like even risking it, I'm like, no. Like I'll just make scrambled eggs with a wooden spatula.
I'm fine with scrambled eggs.
I'm great with scrambled eggs. I don't need the omelet specifically. And so I just like don't ever want to like flip it over with the fork because it's like, just risk ruining my pan. And I'm not going to invest in some special omelet fork or some esoteric shit like that.
It's made out of like mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Ivory tusks.
Yeah. But no, those are some of my favorites. I'm sure I have more, but I can't. Can't think
we'll think about it. Yeah, because we already ran our gamut of cigar tips.
Cigar hacks, yeah.
You learn any new cigar hacks, actually?
I don't think I have. No, most of the cigar hacks I learned like the first few years I was smoking.
Oh, my favorite recent one, not recent, probably like in the last 5 years, is recharging Boveda packs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm just stealing money from Boveda.
I do that. I do like an animal at Aloni. I see just like a loose Boveda pack. I'm like, it's crunchy. It's fucking going in there.
Yeah.
It's going in there. It's going in there. And over like the course of like 2 months, like after 3 months after I started working there, Jeb was like, where did all these Boveda packs come from? I'm like, oh, I hydrate them like a maniac, dude. Like I see them in boxes when I'm stocking shit or just laying around. Like I just grab them, I throw them in
free
there.
money. You're just throwing away free money.
He's like, oh yeah, keep doing that. I just keep giving them to people, like handing them out. People think I'm great. I'm like, yeah. What they're there for. We have dozens of them. It's like, so I don't remember last time I bought a Boveda pack.
Yeah, I do. There's 2 different methods I've learned. There's the slow method where you just get like either, it's multiple ways of doing it. You can put it in a humidor that has like active like humidification. Put that there, let it sit, do its thing, or rehydrates.
That takes a long time.
Yeah, it takes a long time. Or you get like a 2 containers, like one big vessel and a smaller vessel. You put like a dish of water in that smaller vessel and just put a whole bunch of the dry Boveda packs in there and have it covered, and it'll just rehydrate pretty fast.
You can just submerge them right in water.
Yeah, that's the second method or the third method.
Oh yeah, you just submerge them right in there and just and try to break up anything that feels like it's solidified in there.
Yeah,
and they'll come
that
back.
Or the paper towel.
Yeah,
I've done those too. Yeah, so
yeah, I always really like sharing those things with people that don't know them. I think it's more exciting than learning a new one. Like when I first told my buddy Dennis, like he lit up his cigar and he like went to take a drag out of it. He was like, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, oh, it's like I inhaled like a bit of like cigar dust from like me like cutting my cigar. I was like, oh, just stick your tongue on it first and it'll stick to your tongue and then you just spit it out. And he's like, it's a fucking genius. It's a fucking genius thing. I'm like, I thought everybody did that.
No, I just go like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that works too. But
like, just tap it or whatever.
Yeah, but you don't always get like the loose ones that might be like kind of like buried in there a little bit. And like he's a big drawer. You're kind of a light puffer. He's he's a big dude, and he's a cigarette smoker, and so cigarette smokers just like
that shit just ruins your cigar, dude.
But yeah, it's so that one is like one that I shared with him, and he was like super happy about it. It's like it's always fun to share.
What?
Yeah. But
or you see like you're refilling lighters for people. It's like, oh, you purge it? That's how
purge it?
That's how you get it all.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Or you tell people like, you're like, no, purge this way.
Yeah.
Fill this way.
Yeah.
And don't shake the can, just invert it, right? And they're like, why? I'm like, well, you shake it, it's gonna get bubbles in there. How do you think you get air in your lighter? And they're like, oh, I never thought of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or another hack is to clean the jets out.
Oh, with the compressed air?
No, just use the gas.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit, because that seems to clean out the jets pretty well.
Yeah.
And
the compressed air will work too if you get it right up in there. But like,
yeah, you want to keep your face away from it, like when you do compressed air and then you light it again, because that just whatever gas comes out of it just singes your nose hairs.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just happens all the time.
But yeah, it's like I can't count how it's, man, you're like the lighter wizard. I'm like, no, I do 4 things to the lighter in this order, right? And I do these 4 things, and that fixes like 80% of problems. Like, did you fill it? Did you bleed it? Did you clean the jets? Did you fucking like turn it up? Like, did you move the little thing that like that's like?
We'll just give the plants water.
Yeah.
The stuff that comes out of the toilet.
The stuff that comes out of the toilet. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I can't think of anything that I learned recently. I don't think that I've really learned that many. Probably just because like not really like I don't really smoke cigars with people anymore, except you.
Yeah.
Like I just
did they let you smoke in Aloni?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Looks like I need to change locations, bruh.
Well, we got a separation. So like there's that bar area, and that's like the back. So if I'm back there, I have to have my mask on. But like if I'm up front and no one is up front, no other customers are in the store, then I can smoke up there by myself.
Okay.
But if someone comes in, I got to put on my mask. So it's like, but when I'm not helping customers, I can go through 2-3 cigars a shift. Smoking. But yeah, usually I'm just smoking by myself, smoking with you. And then I'll see people at West Coast. They'll be like, hey, what's up, Press Pass? Hanging out in the yard. Yeah. All right, see you guys later.
You plebes stay out there. Yeah. Don't come in here.
Yeah, well, a mix of the plebes.
Yeah, I forgot. I haven't hanged out there in the like in the front yard at all
Yeah.
for like 6 months. Like, oh my god, you're hanging out with us. Like, yeah, I gotta shake hands, kiss some babies.
Yeah.
Don't forget to vote for me.
What's going on? Yeah.
I'll bless you with my presence.
Mikey in the press pass for president. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird seeing a house cat there yesterday. I was like, wow, house cat's here. Sitting really close to the fire. He got up and I went and sat in his seat and I thought like my legs were going to catch on fire. I was like, Jesus, dude.
Do you get any circulation in your legs?
That dude's just constantly cold.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Plus or minus 72, like either side of a degree or so, he gets cold or hot.
I think it's a flex of like 4 or 5 degrees.
It's
If
that
between
range is
71 to like 76. He's
Yeah.
comfortable. That's
Yeah.
about it.
It's super thin.
I know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just what happens when you get old. Like you get older and you just.
I'd be kind of curious if he's always like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too. And I've also found myself wondering if people that have desk jobs most of their lives, and then for whatever reason they're like, because house cat was that way when we worked out West Coast. He's like, dude, my legs are just killing me like every night, and I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, your legs aren't just killing you. Like I work 1 shift or 1 or 2 shifts a week, and I'm like, my legs are just murdered. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm on my feet like all week.
Yeah.
And my legs don't hurt. I mean, some days they hurt, but not really. And he's like, well, you're young. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't really hold up because Rick Silvera outweighs you by about 45 pounds and he's easily older than you. But like that dude, I think has just had jobs where he's been on his feet his whole fucking life.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of comfortable. Like his legs just have gotten strong of being standing up all fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's like working here too. Probably it's like you're on concrete or whatever this is, all flagstone or whatever this is.
That's concrete.
Is it?
Yeah. It just has an epoxy top on it.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's what you would call flagstone. This little fleck pattern.
Oh.
But yeah, it's just I remember when I worked in a factory, it was like, yeah, the first few months I worked there, it fucking killed my legs.
Oh, yeah, for
standing
sure.
on concrete all day, and then like after a while, you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah. There's some guys that work like even harder job, or they work for like the city of Gilroy doing like outside shit. And then when they hang out in the cigar shop, they're standing up. I was like, dude, just sit down, man. I just like standing up.
Yeah, I was used to it.
It's like horses.
Yeah.
They have this lockout joint. They just like
I roofed for a couple of months in the summer with my
roofing was pretty rough, huh?
yeah. It's so like being up on a roof on that incline, standing on there. Oh, it fucking just
I can imagine.
It's just like, yeah, you could just jump into a helicopter hovering at like 6 feet with calves like that. You do that. Like the guys that work there did that like all the time.
Yeah.
Like, cause I was like 20, 21 and my Uncle Bill had been doing it for like 20 years.
Stay in school, kid.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And his calves were just like fucking just carved out of marble, man. Just standing up there on that like 45-degree fucking incline, swinging a hammer no less, keeping your fucking balance on like that black tar. Because you guys don't really have like the black tar shingles as much out here. People have more like Spanish tile roofs and stuff, don't they?
It's a mix.
Okay, because like most people in the Midwest, or at least in Michigan, have like those shingles, black shingles, because we get snow. And so because we get snow, most people's roofs are at an incline because you need to, like the snow will collapse your fucking roof or whatever. Yeah. So you have to have that style of tile. So most people have it. And so it's like mostly like, 45-degree angle and shingle roofs. This is fucking brutally.
And I imagine you can't do that when it's cold. So it's usually in the summer.
They used to.
Oh yeah.
They do some roofing in the winter, but a lot of people that roof in the summer shovel off roofs in the winter.
Ugh.
Yeah, they shovel the roofs. So because like
I didn't even know that was the thing.
Yeah, people because they don't want to get too much because the snow in Michigan is heavy, especially in Kalamazoo. So like if it gets too much of a buildup on it, it can like fuck your roof up over time, and you don't want that. And then like especially if it starts melting and there's big pieces of ice and shit, like it can fall off and it could be like it could like an incline like this, like if it gets warm enough, it could all just like crackle and just slide down like all in one sheet and like bury you while you're trying to take out a garbage. Yeah, like while you're trying to take out a garbage or something. So people will usually wait a little while because it's actually kind of good to have a little bit of snow up there because it's like insulation for your house.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a certain threshold, they'll pay someone to go up there and just get rid of it.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that's what roofers do usually in the winter is they do that shit.
I might have asked you at the on a previous podcast, but the whole thing with like Christmas Story with the icicles hitting people, was that a thing? Is that a real thing?
With icicles hitting people,
Yeah.
I don't think it's like it's more of a wives' tale, like
Uh.
don't go swimming 30 minutes after you eat sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, ice does fall off and can be really treacherous. I've
Okay.
seen it happen before. I've been hit by ice before like
Uh-huh.
that. Not mostly just like one single icicle. It's not like one icicle like
Yeah.
that usually.
Uh-huh.
Which actually it doesn't actually happen in the movie. He pretends
Yeah,
it
he
happened.
pretends it happens.
But like sometimes you'll see like there'll be like a whole row of like, because look, what happens is you see those little icicles and they get lined up, but then like around the gutters, like if it doesn't get cleared, what'll happen is it'll just form like the base of it where all the icicles are hanging off will just become this one big bar.
Oh.
And then there's a bunch of snow on top of it, and if it just melts a little bit, that snow slides down and it just pushes that bar down and it just and it'll like collapse. And I've been hit by it before, where it'll fall and like it'll be a bunch of ice and snow and like it reminds me of a funny story when I was a kid, or my uncle was a kid. I was really little, so I was witness to it, but not involved in it because I was too little. I was outside playing in the snow. It's like my grandma's first house. And my uncle was old. He's like 5 years older than me, and my sister's like 4 years older than me. And they were horsing around my dad, and my uncle was kind of like an adolescent, so he's probably 10-ish, and I was probably like 5-ish. And they were my sister and him, and I think one other neighborhood kids. They were like my dad. My dad was a pretty good dad. Like he'd come out and play with us kids in the snow, and she played street hockey with us when I was a kid. And he'd get a snowmobile suit on, and he'd come out and like, let's have a snowball fight, right? And my uncle got kind of uppity, because he was like, starting to, like grow up a little bit. He's like just fucking pelting my dad, like yeah, like talking shit. And he ran off. And then like I'm playing in the snow, like Bill Snowman, like, yeah, I'm the little one, or whatever, being an idiot. And I see my dad, like he's got a hold of the rain gutter, and he's fucking like scaling up the top of the house. And he's up on the top of the house, and I see something sticking out of the back of his snowsuit. It's like it looks like he has like a plastic helmet on. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like a kid, and I didn't realize what it was until he got to the top, and he's up on the roof, and he pulls a shovel out of his back, and he just gets like this giant shovel of fucking snow, and he just walks over to the eave, and he just waits for my uncle to walk right beneath him, and he's just like, bloop. Just like, I mean, like seriously, like the bottom part of a snow. My dad was like pretty strong too. It was really heavy, wet snow, and he
It's
just
like heavier than him.
yeah, it was like the shovel was about
Than
this.
your uncle.
Yeah, the shovel was about this big. One of those big, deep, bold shovels.
Yeah.
So it's about this big, and my dad had filled it till like here. So it was just like seriously probably like this much fucking snow. And he just like dropped it on him. Roof. I think it knocked him down too. I think he was like, roof. He was like, like,
Got him.
little shit.
Well, it's a little short podcast, but pretty good on time.
All right, yeah. Well, let's wrap it up. Man, I gotta do what I gotta do.
So what are we reviewing for next podcast? Cigar wise.
The Tatuaje Kahonu 2012 Broadleaf.
Okay. Oh, that? I thought we were gonna go with the new one.
I thought you said you want to do Broadleaf.
No, remember it was like let's mix it up and do something new.
Oh yeah. Maybe we'll do that. I forget what it's called though.
Well, yeah, TBA.
TVA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure I can get some. Do we want Lanceros or Lonsdales?
Dealer's choice.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be a Lancero because you like Lanceros.
Well, I heard the Lancero was disappointing. Actually, I might wait till the Lonsdale drops.
Okay.
Comes down from the top, slide it down.
It's all marinating.
Slide down the DMs. Yeah.
Is that usual practice for your shop to have let it sit for a little bit after receiving it?
Yeah, we always let stuff sit, usually 3 or 4 days. But sometimes we'll get limited stuff, like if we get like a bunch of limited opus and a bunch of we don't put all of them out at once because you don't have the shelf space for it, and you don't want people gobbling them up. So like with the Tatuaje Limiteds, we got one box of 4 sizes, and so we just put one on the shelf, and we limit them to one per customer per day. And then when that size is gone, like last week it was the Bellicoso, when the Bellicosos sold out, then we brought the Lanceros down. And when the Lanceros sell out, we'll bring the Lonsdales down, and they'll just be that one spot on the shelf for like the limited, rather than putting all 4 of the limited ones out. And actually, they probably move better that way too.
Yeah.
So
it's like, oh, it's limited. I need to gather some more.
Yeah, it's a pretty big phenomenon at Ohlone too. People just like limited, like limited, different, weird stuff. Yeah. I mean, if it's good, I care, but you know, those fucking A's were pretty good last week.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. What else?
What else? That's what we're reviewing.
Try to watch Chinatown.
And I will watch Community.
Hey, there we go.
I will watch.
Report back.
We'll report back. Don't try to watch Chinatown. Watch Chinatown. It's so good. Did you ever finish Perry Mason? I meant to ask you that.
Oh, no. It keeps on slipping my mind.
You did finish it?
No. I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm watching Community.
Because you were like, yeah, I should finish that. And then I was like, okay, well, yeah, let me know when you finish it. And then you never did. And I was like, maybe you just finished it and forgot to tell me.
No, I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, still need to finish Raised by Wolves. I don't know, just like that.
I fizzled on Raised by Wolf too. I watched like the first 6 episodes in like 2 days, and then I watched 1 episode in like the last several weeks. So I'm on episodes 8 now. I watched 1 through 7. I'm on 8, which is probably about where you are, right?
7 or 8, something like that. Yeah. I think. I don't know.
It's taken you a really long time because you watched it. You were like, hey, I started it, and then you reported back, and you're like, it's dope.
Yeah.
And then you reported back again, you're like, it's so good.
Uh-huh.
And then I waited like another month,
Yeah.
and then I started it, and you're still like at the same point that I am.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Just get drawn attention by other things, like a
Shit,
butterfly.
Look at that, yeah. Look at that shiny thing. Look at this. Would you look at that?
Look at that
Look
horn.
Look at that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think we were playing a lot of D&D. That's why I was like, why? Let's play some D&D.
Yeah, there's just only so much stuff to watch. Like I there hasn't been a lot of new movies that I've been wanting to watch either. It's like, and then I was like, I want to start The Leftovers, and then there was another show that I was going to watch. I was like, it's on my bucket list. I'm going to watch that show, and then I started The Leftovers, and I fucking forgot what it was. Don't even remember what it was because I finished Perry Mason.
Yeah.
And I finished something else.
Raised by Wolves, Perry Mason. What's the other thing? Because Leftovers is the only thing I remember.
I had something else on that list of things that I wanted to watch. Shows. I watched 1 episode of The Flight Attendant.
Oh, yeah.
Not good.
Well, they can't all be winners from
Oh,
HBO.
Queen's Gambit. That's what it was.
Oh,
and I
okay.
did finish that.
Yeah.
And it was very good.
I should start that. Everyone talks about that. I did watch episode 1. Yeah.
It's a pretty solid show.
Yeah.
I liked it. And it's like, yeah. Did I tell you that I read that the sale of chessboards went up 125% like the week after that show premiered?
Yeah.
It's not surprising, but...
We're going to have a generation of chess players now.
No, you won't. It'll just be like people get into it, buy a chessboard, and be interested into it for like a month or 2, and then stop. Like, that's
It's like an artifact of like, oh, you play chess? No, I just saw the Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. Well, no, what's really weird is like I started getting into playing again right before that show premiered.
Yeah.
And it was part of the reason that I was like, I want to watch that. I've been playing chess lately. Because I probably wouldn't have otherwise watched it. Like it looked interesting enough, but I was just like, I don't know. I don't know about Netflix, like I'm just not really on the Netflix bandwagon anymore.
Yeah.
But, until Cobra Kai came out, and I was like, give it a shot.
Did we talk about Cobra Kai? Yeah, we did talk about Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai was good.
No.
What was I going to say? Oh, watch Lupin. Just watch like the first episode.
What's it on?
Netflix.
Okay. Oh, that's what it was. That was the other show I wanted to watch. But then I was thinking about just buying the season. I wanted to catch up on What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
Because what I saw of it, I really liked. And I want to watch more of it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is really good.
Yeah, I'd probably watch What We Do in the Shadows first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't know if I probably had to buy the whole season on FXX, which I can probably buy in Prime, right?
Yes. Did I thought I said... No, Community was on Netflix.
Yeah, you said Community was on Netflix.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a FX that does What We Do in the Shadows. And it's the same reason I haven't really watched much of The Mandalorian is that I don't have Disney Plus, and I will not get Disney Plus because I have no use for Disney Plus other than watching that one show on Disney Plus. And so, like, everything else that's on there. Like I don't care about any other Star Wars stuff or any other Disney stuff or any other Harry Potter shit or any of that shit. That's Disney too, isn't it?
Harry Potter?
Or is it DreamWorks?
I don't know.
Anyway, but yeah, like it's all that stuff I just don't really care about.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to watch Harry Potter, it's all on HBO. Lord of the Rings is on HBO now, so it's like Curb. I started watching that and I never got through the first season even. I was like,
Yeah.
and I liked it. I was like, yeah, I like this show.
Yeah.
And I just fizzled out watching it.
Yeah, I just watched the most recent season. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. I get it.
Yeah, I was gonna like try to go through the whole series. And there's just something about like a series being 10 seasons long, like 10 or 15 episodes a season. It's like, man, it's a lot.
But it's like Seinfeld. It really doesn't matter, other than like knowing what the relationships are, like whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but if I'm just gonna watch something, I might as well watch it beginning to end.
Not sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like any one of them is like, oh, that's the season you gotta watch. It's not like apparently like Community, where there's like a dud season in there or something.
Yeah, the Ghastly year. I might like after going through the series, I might go back to 4 to see the contrast. I just remember it being really bad.
Yeah. Well, if you liked it before and then you disliked that season. To be fair, though, like I never like when the 4th season of Mad Men came out, I did not like the 4th season of Mad Men.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I watched through the whole series again, I was like, yeah, it's not a bad season. It's just not as like the thing is like it hits a fucking high watermark. Like halfway through season 1, the back half of season 1, season 2, and season 3 are so fucking good. Like it's super, super fucking good. And then season 4 is just like, oh, it's like a 7.5.
Yeah.
Instead of a fucking like 10.
7.5.
Yeah, it's like a 7.5, and then like at points it's like pretty good, but it's like, and then it kind of returns to form in season 5 a little bit, and then seasons like 6 and 7 are
kind of reminds me of like a little show we used to watch.
Mm.
You have to get back on it, but the episodes do so poorly with the listeners. It has to be like a section. We can't make it a whole, little inside baseball, but we probably have to do like it has to be a section of the podcast, not the whole episode.
Yeah, I just like kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I'm willing to, because we took such a long break. I think like what, 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, we probably haven't talked Sopranos in 6 months.
Yeah,
since we did one episode post-COVID, I think, of Sopranos.
I think so.
And that's it.
Yeah, and it should be interesting. I think they wrapped up filming for that prequel.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, those guys kind of took our idea, so it was like,
yeah. Fuckers.
Fucking Christopher. Christopher. And is it Bobby Bacala? Is that who else it is?
Yes. Wait. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tone.
The spoil goes to the victor.
You're breaking balls over here.
All right. That does it for this week. Don't be a fool. You gotta wash your hands before you eat the gabagool. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Mikey and the Press Pass podcast. Consider subscribing. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. And you can also write us with any ideas, suggestions, or horrible burning criticism at mikeyandthepresspass@gmail.com. Thank you.